بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته everyone, and welcome to this majlis. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins of our shuyukh, our parents, our beloved ones, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq so we can benefit from this lesson. So last week we stopped we ended our lesson last week by talking about the way how Rasulullah ﷺ received the revelation, and because of the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِنَّكَ لَتُلَقَّى الْقُرْآنَ مِنْ لَدُنْ حَكِيمٍ عَلِيمٍ. We talked about the different ways that our ulama mentioned as ways for receiving the revelation, although the common way, as we did mention last week, that Rasulullah ﷺ used to receive it and the revelation comes on his heart, or it comes when Jibreel comes to talk to him, and that's very, very heavy on Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So, وَإِنَّكَ لَتُلَقَّى الْقُرْآنَ مِنْ لَدُنْ حَكِيمٍ عَلِيمٍ, it was the indication of what is going to be talking about it later on, the stories. I did mention to you before, last lesson, that when we ended the lesson, the story of Musa is the first story. Why was the story of Musa the first story? Because closest one to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam as a nation, Bani Israel, and that's why you find all the time the stories of Bani Israel are the first stories are mentioned in the number of the stories in the Quran, if we have more than one story in the surah. And also the second rule, remember it, whenever you see a story, do not think is repeated. There is no repetition in here. It's all the time, it's for a different purpose. And now we're talking about how Rasulullah received the wahi, and the wahi was التلقي والتلقين. Jibreel used to recite and Muhammad sallam recite after him. It's similar what we have in Surah Al-Qiyamah. ولا تعجل بالقرآن. What's the ayah? ولا تعجل. It's in my mind. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in Surah Al-Qiyamah that do not make isti'jal, do not rush into reading what Jibreel alayhi salam reading to you. You just listen to it, and after we will read it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make the protection of these surahs. You found it? You're trying to remember it. And in alayna, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect the Quran, and you just read what Jibreel was reading to you, and do not rush into reading it, because Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was rushing into read that, fearing that he might forget what is receiving, what is revealing upon him. So here the story, you'll see it's related to the same thing, the same topic, which is the revelation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, إِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِأَهْلِهِ. So this is the beginning of the story. إِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِأَهْلِهِ إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا سَآتِيكُم مِّنْهَا بِخَبَرٍ أَوْ آتِيكُم بِشِهَابٍ قَبَسٍ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصْطَلُونَ. So whenever you read that in the Quran, and this is a lot in Surah Al-Baqarah and the other surahs, all the time, as if you're saying, remember, O Muhammad, when, and then the story. Remember, O Muhammad, when there is something. It's a principle. You can use it in all the way of the Quran when you're reciting. This is one of the qawa'id, one of the rules of tafsir. So, إِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ. Remember, O Muhammad, when. I'm not going to go to grammar rules, because if you know the grammar rules for this one, it will be very, very easy for you to understand it. But this is what we call a dharf, and there is verbs being dropped, and the meaning of that means remember when Allah or Musa said to his people. So, إِذْ قَالَ Musa, remember and tell them when Musa alayhi salam, Musa is the greatest Nabi of Bani Israel, and that's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Bani Israel, He will talk about Musa. He's not going to talk about other Nabi, although their stories are there, the story of Yaqub alayhi salam, the story of Yusuf, his brothers, and other Anbiya. But the story of Musa is all the time, is the main surah, the main story is mentioned, and he's the greatest Nabi of Bani Israel. إِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِأَهْلِهِ, when Musa alayhi salam said to his ahl. The word ahl in Arabic language, when you use it and the Quran is revealed in Arabic, you're referring to the mother, to the sisters, to the wife, to the siblings with you. A family means everyone is around you, all the family members. So including here your mother, your sister, your brothers and other siblings, including the wife. But we know Musa alayhi salam, when Musa alayhi salam left Egypt and he went to Madian, to Ashab, he left by himself when he escaped, and you know the story. After he killed the Egyptian person, after the Israeli person asked Musa for help and Musa killed, and he was not intending to kill him. Musa, after that, I'm making the story short because that story mentioned in the other surahs. Musa alayhi salam escaped, he went to Madian. When he went there, he went by himself. And now he is returning. This is in his returning from Madian after he completed, after he got married in there. He got married to the daughter of Shu'aib. And just remember something that we need to remember it here. Not Shu'aib and Nabi. We have two Shu'aibs. Al-Rajul al-Salih, the pious and righteous person. And we have the Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is time between that Shu'aib and the story, Shu'aib, the Nabi of Allah, and the story of Musa. They are not in the same time. And Shu'aib was from the Anbiya of the Arab and not from the Anbiya of Bani Israel. So there are big differences. People are making mistakes when they think Musa got married, the daughter of Shu'aib. They think that the Shu'aib is a Nabi, but he's not a Nabi. He's a pious and righteous person, used to live in Madian, and he's the one who met his two daughters wanting to get the water, and then Musa alayhi salam helped them. And the daughter said to her father, hire this person and use him, and innahu qawiyyun ameen. He is a qawi, he is a strong, and he's an ameen. When we say Ahl, he was at the time returning from Madian. He's returning, going to Egypt after 10 years, spend them there to see his family, to see his brother, to see his sister, and the rest of his family. Now, the word Ahl in here, it does not include the mother. It does not include the sister, is not the siblings. The word Ahl here is only his wife. And that's what we can understand from here, because it's definitely his mother, his sister that remained in Egypt. And when he was returning with his wife only. So that is the word Ahl. And here, by just referring and talking about Musa, Ahl of Musa was his wife. In this case, Al-Ahl, and another way of saying it in Arabic, in Sharia, we say Al. Al-Al is Al-Ahl. And here, where the Shia, they're saying that Alun Nabi, when we say Sallallahu Alaihi wa alihi wasallam, Alun Nabi is only his family, it's not right. We Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we believe Al of someone, the family of someone, is including the wife or wives, if you have more than one. It's not just your family members. And evidence for that, there are so many, starting from the language in Arabic and with the Sharia as well. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he makes salah upon him, and when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned his ahl, we are including his wives as well. The wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam are including in his ahl, are respected, and we making salah upon them as well. إذ قال موسى لأهله إني آنست نارا. It says also one of the, I did mention last week, and also for yesterday in the Jummah, well, I was going to say a coincidence, but last week I said a word, and one of the brothers, he's not here today, one of the brothers said to me, you said, what's the word? I said, if you are lucky, you will get intercession, Yawm al-Qiyamah. He said to me, how are you using it? The word lucky. There's no luck in Islam. I said to him, there is luck in Islam. The luck is under the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not talking about the luck. You expect me to talk about the luck without the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it qadr and written for you 50,000 years before even Allah created the samawati wal ard. I don't refer to that. There is a luck, which is the luck that written in your qadr. And that's what I was referring to. Don't take the word without taking the context from the right and left and understand it in the right way. Don't take it in that way. So anyway, I explained to the brother. And now I was going to say coincident. And you might say to me, oh, you don't believe in Qadr as well. So leave the word coincidence. Uh, yesterday in the Jum'ah, we talked about the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَقْصِصِ الْقَصَصَ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَتَفَكَّرُونَ. Oh Muhammad, tell them the stories so they can remember. The stories are good reminders. You will learn lessons from there. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the stories to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. After mentioning the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, long story with his brothers, what happened there, Allah said, إِنَّ فِي قَصَصِهِمْ لَعِبْرَةٌ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. So there is a ibrah, there is a reminder, there is a lesson for the believers, for the recite of the Quran. And we have, whenever we read the story, we have to get lessons from there. إِذْ قَالَ مُوسَى لِأَهْلِهِ إِنِّي آنَسْتُ نَارًا. One of the lessons you learn here, that the way how you talk to a family, the way how you talk to your wife and family members in general, because the word ahl, it can include the family members, is in a respectful way, in a beautiful way, a nice way, and it's someone there, as we say in Arabic, is a human. So you're not talking to an animal when you are shouting, you are making your instructions as a father or as a male person in the house. So talk to the person as a human. إذ قال موسى لأهله إني آنست نارا. Surely آنست, آنس يأنس in Arabic means I saw. I can see there is there nar. Nar, there was a light from far, and that shows, although the ayat, I'm going to tell you something that mentioned in the books of Tafseer, but the ayat is not presenting that. It was said that Musa alayhi salam with his wife and two children. His wife, they said her name is Safura, or Safuriya. So Safura, that's the famous name that mentioned in the books of Tafsir and books of history, the daughter of Shu'aib. It was said that they got lost in the desert and they could not find the way. And Musa was kind of stuck at that time. And when they saw the light, it was for them two benefits in there. First, they're going to find out the way. Secondly, it was cold because it was winter, and the ayah later on will indicate that the word tastalun. So we can get somewhere where we'll get warm fire and with people to stay to get like shelter, and also we'll find the way for ourselves. So the word anastu means I saw. Na means a fire in there. I'm going to find out. I'm going to go there. Sa'atikum minha bikhabar. It means I will go there. I will go there. I will bring to you or my family from them a khabar. A khabar, this is where indicating that where we are standing now, where we lost and we don't know the way. So I'll get a news from them to tell us the direction to go to Egypt. أو آتيكم, or at least I will get for you from them, أو آتيكم بشهاب قبس. الشهاب, anything that makes lights. الشهاب in Arabic language, anything makes lights. And that's why we call the stars, the planets, we call them shihab, because you can see there is a light in there. And it's called shihab. And a shihab in here, it means a shihab is the light that he can see Musa from far. And al-qabas is a shu'la, is a torch, that something you hold it in your hand and makes the fire. That is al-qabas. So atikum bi shihabin qabas, I can get for you from there a fire. La'allakum, perhaps la'allakum tastalun. And the word tastalun, you get warm because it was cold. And that's where we understood it was in the winter time, and it was Musa and his family, they were in cold, and it was they need something to get warm. So لَعَلَّكُمْ تَصْطَلُونَ, al-istila is getting warm when it's cold. You don't get warm when it's hot because you're already hot, and you get warm when it's cold outside. So this is the benefit of the annar that Musa will get from this place. And we know all that Musa went in there. That was invitation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Allah spoke to him, as will come inshallah later on in the following ayat. But before I go into that, the ulama talked about different types of fires. The fire that Musa found is a fire that gives light but doesn't burn. Gives light but doesn't burn. There is a fire where it will burn but it doesn't give you light. Which one? The opposite of the fire of Musa, will burn and no light. No, Jahannam dark, yes, and there's no light, and will burn everyone who is inside it. May Allah protect us. So dhulma, Al-dhulma is all completely dhalam in there. What is the fire? That's the second. The fire that it gives you light at the same time will burn. The fire in the dunya. The fire in the dunya. And how you identify the fire of Ibrahim? It gives light and it doesn't burn. Or at least for Ibrahim alayhi salam. So they look into different fires, and all of that is not, when we go through that, it doesn't mean that we're going through, don't think about as what we call fudul al-ilm. Something is just an extra information to learn it. This is just to show you the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the qudra of Allah. We know that when we talk about a fire that you put finger in there, you get to be burned. But the fire that you know it burns you, it can be one day, it will not be burned. And that's as Musa alayhi salam found it, as Ibrahim alayhi salam. And also the fire that you normally you see and you use it to get a light and to see things when you use it, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the fire in Jahannam, that doesn't give you any light in there. It will be all dark. And all of that just to highlight the qudra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is al-Qadir. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the same time, He's a Hakim with the hikmah, with the wisdom. There is a wisdom, there is a purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In one occasion makes it burning, and in one occasion it doesn't burn. So in this ayah, we found how Musa alayhi salam was very helpful for his family. Musa alayhi salam spoke to his family in a nice and respected way. And that's how a Muslim should be. Whenever there's a chance for you to go and help your family, you need to do that. You might say, as some ulama said, added into that, when you want to get something, it's a duty for the man to do the duty, to do the job. It wasn't his wife said, okay, you sat here, I'm the wife, I'm going to go and find the fire from there, I'll get you something. Musa alayhi salam said to the family, you stay here, I'm going to go and get that. So it's a duty of the man, not the duty of the women. The women is a way that you treat her, it is in a respectful way. You stay there, I will serve you. And he went and he served his family to find out the fire. Yes.
Strength of the opinion that the light was the light of Allah, but
There is no evidence for that. Is a nar in Arabic language? Yeah, it was said amongst the Mufassirin, the fire there is the light of the Malaika, the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all of that. But we don't have an evidence to show that. If we say the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, although we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes down to a sama' ad-dunya, but if the light isn't there, are you saying that Allah is there? And that is, you go into a mahdhur on something that we don't believe in that. If you say the light of the malaika, there is no evidence. So the word used is a nar. And a nar in Arabic, and the Quran was revealed in Arabic. What we should understand from there is a nar. And a nar, it can be light as well. And it's a light in there. Musa got the light. But it was said amongst the Mufassirin as well, that some Mufassirin or late Mufassirin, they mentioned that the light is the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But there's no evidence for that. Then we have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلَمَّا جَاءَهَا نُودِيَ أَن بُورِكَ مَنْ فِي النَّارِ. فَلَمَّا, when Musa alayhi salam attended and came towards the fire, فَلَمَّا جَاءَهَا, when Musa came to it. And what is it? Is the fire. And that is in the blessed valley of At-Tur. Nudiya was called. Musa was called. He heard the sound. He heard the voice. Amburika man finnar. Who said that? Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they believe that the one who said that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because we believe that Allah, when He speaks with words. The words contain letters and the letters contain sounds. So the sound of the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was heard from Musa. Some of the Muslims from a different sects in the Tafseer, they mention that the sound, Allah made the sound in the tree spoke. And some are saying the sound was said by the Malaika. But Allah, He's the one who spoke to Musa alayhi salam, and that's why Musa alayhi salam was known as Kalimullah. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. Allah spoke to Musa alayhi salam, and it was during this time when Musa received the revelation, and it was also when Musa, after was he saved from Fir'aun, he spoke to him later on when he received the al-alwah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it was twice, and that's why Musa alayhi salam was known as Kalimullah. So فَلَمَّا جَاءَهَا نُودِيَ, who is the one who make the call? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's the one who spoke. So Musa heard the sound. What is the sound? It says, أَمْبُورِكَ مَنْ فِي النَّارِ. What is the sound says? Burika from the word baraka. It means there is blessed what? Man finnar, the one, those who are finnar, and those who are around the fire, the light that we are talking about it. The ulama, they have different opinions about this. The famous and the best opinion that to say that Burika man finnar, Musa alayhi salam himself, or the angels. These are the strongest views. Musa alayhi salam, because he attended and he was there when the fire is there, the light was there. And so the one who was blessed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about his blessing, is Musa alayhi salam. Or the other opinion is the malaika. The malaika who were attending, they were there. وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا, it can be. If you say the one who is blessed is Musa, and the one is around the fire, then we say the malaika. If you say the malaika are the one who is at the fire, man hawlaha, you're referring to Ash-Sham. Because around that fire, outside the area of Tur, the closest land is Ash-Sham, which is Palestine, Jordan, and that area. And that area we have from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ash-Sham is a blessed land. So burika man finnar. What is the baraka means? And baraka is you, when you are saying blessed, you are really asking for increasing for the khair. Al-khair, the good from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what you are saying, you are blessed means may Allah increase your khair, the khair in you. Any good that may Allah increase in you. And that's what it means in here. So you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Musa, may Allah himself increase the khair in you. You are blessed. And the khair in the area around you, which is Ash-Sham. وَمَنْ حَوْلَهَا. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَسُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. And all the time when you make a dua, you glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah glorified himself by making tasbih. Subhan in Arabic is ism masdar. And it means it's a word all the time used and with a word after it. You cannot have the word subhan. I used to have a student with the name Subhan. I said to him, just whenever I see you, he's a boy, and the family call him Subhan. Subhan, it's not a word to use like that. So this is amongst, he's Pakistani, by the way. So you cannot use a word like that. You select the word Subhan. Subhan, it doesn't make sense until you add it into the word after that. Subhanallah, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Subhanallah wa bihamd. So you have to add what we call in Arabic language a mudaf ilayhi. There's a mudaf and the word mudaf ilayhi. Meaning that is a tanzih. Tanzih, it means that I am believing inside my heart and I'm saying the word with my tongue that Allah is free from any defects. Anything that short and not good and bad, that Allah is free from that. And that's why one of the greatest dhikr to use, to say Subhanallah, bihamdi, Subhanallah al-Azim, or Subhanallah. Subhana Allahi, as Allah said here, Rabbil Alameen, he described himself as the Lord of Al-Alameen. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Rabb Al-Alameen. Now, before I move on into the following, because we know that Musa was cool, I'm going to give something in your mind to think about it. We have a principle that in Sharia, whatever that whatever that was established for a Nabi, any miracle, any ayah was given to a Nabi, Muhammad received similar to that or even better. Now, Musa alayhi salam, when he is about to receive the wahi, look into the occasion. He was returning from Ash-Sham, from Madian going to Egypt. He was invited to come to deep into Tur valley. He spoke to him, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was in fear. Musa was in fear. He was cold. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he was not traveling. He was sitting, worshipping Allah, remembering Allah in the cave of Hira. Who came to him? It wasn't Allah. It was the angel Jibreel spoke to him. Now you are saying to us, whatever was established for a Nabi, Muhammad will get similar to that or even better. Did Muhammad get better than Musa? Musa was spoken by Allah in the valley of Tur. Muhammad was spoken by Jibreel when he received the wahi the first time. So it's the not same in here. But don't forget about Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He got better invitation than Musa. Muhammad got invitation into Sidratul Muntaha, to the seventh heaven, to a place that no one can go through. That even Jibreel said, this is my barrier, so I can't go through. If I go through, I will be burned, but you are allowed. And he spoke to Allah there, and he got the revelation there. And that's what we listed last week. One of the ways of receiving the wahi, Rasulullah received straight away from Allah the revelation when he got the 50 salah and then turned into 5 salawat and others as well. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got higher states than Musa alayhi salam was invited into that place and you get the revelation there. You might say, well, that was later on in his life, in the 10th year or the 11th year after the Nubuwwah, and Musa alayhi salam got it the first. But regardless, the time when he gets that, Muhammad, the principle says, the Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because Khatimul Anbiya and Sayyidul Anbiya, he will get the same or he'll get better regardless of the time. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam was in cave of Hira. He was worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and he saw Jibreel in his form, how Allah created him. Musa did not get that. But later on Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam got what Musa alayhi salam himself got in early time. So that's something, remember it. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya Musa, innahu ana Allahul Azizul Hakim. Musa was, as we said, he had that fear. It was cold. Just imagine you are in the desert. Just imagine about yourself. If you don't have that experience, try it one day. Very cold, dark, desert, no one with you from the supporters outside. You have responsibility with you, 2 kids and a wife, maybe hungry, and then when you see there is hope somewhere there to go and get something from that hope, from that light, that fire, you got there and you got scared. There's no one. I heard the sound, but there's no one in there. And you get even more having the fear. If you did not try this one day, I know in this country you go out, it's light all the way. And you never get cold. Everywhere you're having, mashallah, warm. And this experience needs, when you go back home and you try something like that, I'm sure that you will have a feeling inside your heart. Musa alayhi salam had that. He was very frightened. He was had full of fear. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Mufassirun, the scholars said, Allah spoke to him with his name. He said to him, Ya Musa, to show him that I know you. We know you very well. And don't get scared. Even the one who's calling you knows even your name. And when you know someone calling you with your name, oh, I'm safe because the person knows my name. So it must be one of the people that I know. Because who's going to call your name unless if someone knows you? So, Ya Musa, Allah called him with his name, Innahu ana Allah. Don't get afraid. Don't be scared. It is me. And that is Allah. He's saying, Innahu ana Allah. And I know that, as I promised at the beginning, I'm not going to use Arabic language, but really it's very strong statement by saying, Innahu ana. This is, I emphasize this statement by using the ha in there and ana. It's very strong, a beautiful statement to say it in Arabic. That ana, don't get scared. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is here. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. And Allah. And he used the word Allah. He didn't use the word Ar-Rab, because the word Allah, the whole thing, everything for the sending the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to their people is everything to do with the ibadah. And the ibadah is the suitable name to use it for is Allah. If you're talking about Ar-Rububiyyah, the Lordship, then you use the word Ar-Rab. He used the word Allah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described himself by saying Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. Why did Allah selected select the 2 names here, Al-Aziz, Al-Hakim? Why he didn't say, Ya Musa innahu ana Allah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Ya Musa innahu ana Allah Al-Qawiyyu Al-Mateen. Something like that. He used the word Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. Al-Aziz, I am Dhu Izzah. Dhu Izzah, Al-Izzah has 3 meanings. That my states is very high. Qadar Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, his states is very high. And the second meaning of Al-Izzah, it means I am the Ghalib. No one can defeat me. I am the Ghalib, I can defeat anyone. and al-mumtani', the one who will be protected, no one can harm him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And saying that, preparing him for later on when you get to go to Fir'aun. Remember, when the first day you met Allah, when Allah gave you the revelation, He is Al-Aziz. Do not get scared of anyone. Allah is with you. His status is very high. He is Al-Ghalib. He will defeat anyone, even if it was Fir'aun, the king of Egypt. And He's Al-Mumtani'. No one can harm Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why giving the name from the beginning, the message from the beginning, make the person prepared for what's going to come later on. Al-Hakim, I selected you for a hikmah. There is a wisdom behind why I brought you to this place, why I'm talking to you in this way, and why you've been going to be selected, and I'm giving you the ayat, the miracles that he's going to receive now, and sending to you to later on to Musa, to Fir'aun. So all of that, think about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He's Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. Musa from the beginning, having that belief, he's a believer anyway. Musa, as you know, he's one of the followers of Bani Israel. And Bani Israel before him was Yusuf alayhi salam and his brothers, the Anbiya in Egypt. They inherited the deen, but Allah selected him at the time to be the Nabi, to revive the deen of Bani Israel. So He preparing him from the beginning, giving the message that He's Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. Yes.
You repeat the significance of the ayat when you said the ha.
Okay. Now, when we have a nominal sentence, we're going to have a mubtada and khabar, a subject and what you are telling about the subject. That itself in Arabic language is an emphasized statement. Is unlike when you use a verbal sentence. Using a nominal sentence is a stronger statement than using a verbal sentence, because they are attached to each other, the subject and the in use that you're giving about the subject. That's one. When you're adding between the subject and when before the subject, you're adding inna, what's the word inna in there? You are saying surely, indeed, verily. You're making the statement even more stronger than being before already strong, but you make even more emphasize the statement. And now with inna, we have the ha, which is originally the mubtada, and then we have Allah later on. The word ana is being added in there, which we call damir fasl. Damir al-fasl, to differentiate between the mubtada and the description, the adjective, and also the benefit of that to make extra emphasis in there. So it's no one there, no one can you think of, it's me, it's Allah. I'm saying that He's Him there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very strong in Arabic language. You don't need to say that. He could have said, Ana Allahu al-Aziz, Ya Musa, Ana Allahu al-Aziz. But he said, Innahu Ana Allah. And that's a strong way of saying it. So the whole thing is just to emphasize the statement. So, Ya Musa, innahu ana Allahu al-Aziz al-Hakim. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to him, وَأَلْقِ عَصَاكَ. The first command came straight away after Musa got the confident Musa alayhi salam being introduced by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So I know you, and Musa believed in Allah. It wasn't something very strange for him to hear that there is someone there called Allah, because he was a believer from Bani Israel. And that wasn't easy for him to get that what Allah said to him. إِنَّهُ أَنَا اللَّهُ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ وَأَلْقِ عَصَاكَ. The first command straight away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tested Musa with, and then He said to him, أَلْقِ عَصَاكَ. Musa, when he was traveling, he had a stick with him. Now with the stick, if you go and read some tafsir, you'll find so many stories about it. It says the stick of Musa came from Jannah. There's no evidence for that. The stick of Musa was inherited from a Nabi, from Adam alayhi salam, and to Sheet, to Idris, to that goes from a Nabi to Nabi until got into the time of Musa alayhi salam. But there's no evidence, authentic evidence suggesting that, so we cannot really say this. You can narrate that as in the history, it was said, but it's not really, there's no evidence. A stick, that's the habit of the people who lives in Middle East, like him, having that stick, they're using it. As we get to see that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask him about the benefit of that. وَأَلْقِ عَصَاكَ. He said to him, throw your stick. Al-asa, your stick. Throw it. So then Allah said, فَلَمَّا رَآهَا. There is a statement there, understood from the context, but is not mentioned, and that's how is the Quran in the Arabic language. It says, Musa throw his, he already did fulfilled the action, fulfilled the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because the following statement, فَلَمَّا رَآهَا, then he saw the stick moving, shaking. It means that Musa, he fulfilled the command of Allah when he said to him, throw the stick, he did that. But it's not mentioned in here. So that's what we call hadf. Al-hadf, it means the statement is being dropped because the context, the ayah is understood from there. وَأَلْقِ عَصَاكَ فَلَمَّا رَآ, Musa did that, he threw his stick, and then فَلَمَّا رَآهَا تَهْتَزْ. Musa alayhi salam, when he saw his stick, the one that he experienced, he used in his travel from Sham, maybe before that, it was with him for a long time, he knew his stick, how it looks like, then he found it, رَآهَا تَهْتَزْ, تَهْتَزْ, تضطرب, moving, shaking. A normal stick made of wood, and then after that, that stick start shaking and moving. كأنها, Allah made tashbih. He made a simile in here to that stick with that movement. He said كأنها جان. كأنها, as if it's a jan. Jan, not a jinn. Don't read it as a jinn. The jan here is like a snake. حية. And the ulama differ whether it's a small one or a big one. Regardless, Allah did not say anything. كأنها جان, as if it's a snake. And the snake start moving. They're saying al-jan is the very fast snake. The snake are different types. Some of them, they move slowly, and some of them, especially the big ones, and some of them, they move very fast. So saying فَكَأَنَّهَا جَانٍ is as if that stick became a fast a snake moving very fast. And as Musa was very shocked when he saw the stick as became a snake moving very fast, he got scared. So what happened to him? وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا. A normal human, Musa, to show you that Musa is a normal human. Earlier, Allah showed us Musa as a normal human. How? He got cold with his family. To show you the humans and Anbiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, same as us. They can feel the cold, they can feel the scare, they can feel anything as same as us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them qualities that are not like us. So here, he got scared when he saw that. وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا. وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا, he escaped. Musa escaped, run away. When he saw that, he wanted to run away. Musa al-idbar, when you give you back to something and you head to the other side. And in Sharia, in the chapter of jihad, we have something, a hukm, a ruling called تولي الدبر. Tawliyat ad-dubur is not allowed in the battlefield in Islam. For the Muslims who are with Rasulullah, the time of Badr, the time of Uhud, that's why in the Muslims or the companions who are in the battle of Uhud, they committed a sin. And they know what they committed at the time. Tawliyat ad-dubur, when Rasulullah in the middle of the battle, and the battle is there, and Rasulullah or the commander did not tell you to do any action other than to fight, and you go and you give you back and you escape, that is one of the major sins. So the word is tawliyat ad-dubur, means that you're giving you back to them and you run away. And that's what Musa did. Walla mudbiran. Al-idbar, when you turn away and you move from that place. And he did that out of fear. And al-khawf, my dear brothers and sisters, al-khawf, the fear are two types. There is a normal, a natural type, which is any human can have it. You get into a dark room, you'll get scared. Oh, I'm going to hit this, I'm going to hit that. I might see a spider, I might see this, I might see that. People, they get scared from different types of things. And that's a normal, natural one. That's allowed. That's no issue about that. It's not a sin. But the fear that you go into the graveyard, you're in Pakistan, you want to visit your grandparents, you want a graveyard, they say to you, oh, there's a shrine in there, if you don't go down, that, they might attack you, they might do something to you, to your life, they might, do this, and you get scared. You get scared of them. You're scared from Allah, you're scared from someone who's dead already. Or maybe there's no one even in that shrine. Sometimes no one, sometimes even a donkey in there, as it was established in some stories. So when you get having a fear from other than Allah for something that cannot affect you with it, that is type of a shirk and goes into a serious situation. So you have to be careful with that. So al-khawf, or the fear, is one of the actions of the heart. And a'mal al-qulub, the actions of the heart. Like tawakkul, having trust in Allah, like love, like to hate, like, the khawf, al-raja, hope, and all of these are actions of the heart. And when you apply them to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you are committing a shirk with that. So you have to be careful with this. You have to fear only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, but here with Musa alayhi salam, he did not commit any sin. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, when he left his house in the Hijrah with Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, he was also in a similar situation. He had full of fear that the mushriks, they might catch him. He went into the mountain or the cave of Thawr, and he hid himself there for 3 days. If he was a Rasulullah, you might one say, and he was supported by Allah, why he doesn't go out and make himself as a normal person? He had the fear as a normal human. And if Allah make him to act in that way, then what is the point of having a Nabi who is a human like us? Then it will not be a benefit of that. So because of that, showing to you that the Anbiya, they have qualities of being a human, and the fear, same as they having us, when we're fearing things, we get scared of something. So, وَلَّا مُدْبِرًا وَلَمْ يُعَقِّبْ, and he did not return back. Lam yu'aqib, he did not come back. So ta'keed, this is an emphasis of the statement of walla mudbiran. Allah said walla mudbiran, and he emphasized the same meaning by saying walam yu'aqib, and he did not return back into that. Until Allah said, when Allah is alim, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows that is going to happen from Musa. So Allah said, Ya Musa, again calling him with his name. And when you call the person with the name, there is a respect in there. There is a good way. You might say now, he is Musa, he's from Bani Israel. The Arab, and that's the culture of Rasulullah sallam, they love and they culture that to be called with their kunya or with their titles, the kunya or the title. So the kunya, you're saying Abu Hassan, or Abu Hassan, Abu Muhammad, Abu Ali, something like that. And with Musa alayhi salam was called with his name to give him the tuma'nina, to give him the comfort that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with you. He said, Ya Musa, la takhaf, don't be scared. La takhaf, don't be afraid. Don't have that. He said, Inni la yakhafu ladayya al-mursalun. And he wants to strengthen him, to give him more confidence. He said, Inni la yakhafu ladayya al-mursalun. The messengers, that's very clear now, you are a messenger from Allah. So he's giving him the message that you are a messenger from Allah. At the same time, that one of the top qualities of the messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they should not get scared. And the khawf that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning here is the other khawf that you should not have, to fear from other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The natural one, the normal one, that will be remaining in there, because you get to see in the story of Musa, even later on, even Allah said to him that, later on, he said to him, I killed one of them, and I fear that they might not listen to me. Send with me Harun. So Musa kept repeating the word, I am afraid I have this, I'm afraid I have that. So the negation when Allah said to him, Inni la yakhafu ladayya al-mursalun, the khawf which is a sin, the khawf that is beyond your limit, the khawf that can be considered as a shirk, as we said earlier. Inni la yakhafu ladayya al-mursalun, the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should not commit any kind of the khawf which is shirk. Illa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said after that, إِلَّا مَنْ ظَلَمَ ثُمَّ بَدَّلَ حُسْنًا بَعْدَ سُوءٍ فَإِنِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding Musa with one of his mercies, one of his rules, and this is later on will be used by Musa alayhi salam. Illa, because Musa, what did he do? Musa, he killed a person before, and he's reminding him here, Illa, except man ظَلَمَ, the one who committed a dhulm. A dhulm are 3 types. Dhulm towards yourself by not fulfilling Allah's commands, by doing something beyond your limit and making yourself suffering with a number of things in life. That will be a dhulm. I was told that someone does not eat. I was told about this story. Someone is not eating, and not because there's no food. The food is there, but the person became very slim, and not because of looking after the body. He wants to have a fit body or slim body. He said because just saving the money. So when you commit something like that, until you get into a sickness, one day you fell down, One day you become dizzy, one day you'll be, so you're not looking after yourself. And that is a dhulm. That's a kind of a dhulm. Dhulm towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you commit the shirk, when you don't fulfill Allah's commands, that's a dhulm. And a dhulm towards the other people around you, whether family members or friends or a community, when you don't give their rights and you do something bad towards them. So that's a dhulm. إِلَّا مَنْ ظَلَمَ. Allah said the dhulm in general. Now, ثُمَّ بَدَّلَ حُسْنًا. And then you change the sin into good, to an obedience, to a ta'a. ثُمَّ بَدَّلَ حُسْنًا بَعْدَ سُوءٍ. You made the su, which is the evil, which is the sin, and you changed it into a ta'a. Al-husn is the good, and that is the obedience, the ibadah, the ta'a. You changed it from being a ma'siyah into being a ta'a. And that is the right of the believer, the right of the pious and righteous people, the believers that should do that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us, Rasulullah sallam guided us, that whenever fatbi'il sayya hasana, whenever you do a sayya, itba'aha, followed it with a hasana. The Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, whenever they commit something they're not happy with themselves, they will follow that with a good deed after that. They know that's how it's going to be removed away, the sin, straight away. You don't need to wait until Ramadan. You don't need to wait until to have a season to do something good. Straight away you committed something, do a hasana, so that sayyi'ah will be removed. So ثُمَّ بَدَّلَ, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is praising the person who changed his sayyi'ah to hasana. فَإِنِّي, at that time I will be, Allah saying, فَإِنِّي غَفُورٌ رَحِيمٌ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with those who they change their sayyi'at into hasanat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Ghafoor and Rahim, and that is a suitable name to be used when you talk about the sins of the humans. Talking about Al-Ghufran, the forgiveness, and talking about the Rahmah, having a mercy upon the person who committed that sin. So that's the ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding Musa with this ayah of what he did before. And so don't get scared. Have that confidence and be strong, and look in even what you did before. Don't be scared of that. Allah is preparing him. And when you prepare someone, you prepare him physically and mentally. And the most important, inside. If the inside change, then even if you have a weaker body, you can go ahead and do things. But someone inside is weak and from outside strong, you see, as they're saying sometimes, you see someone's like an elephant, but inside is empty. What do you expect from that person? Nothing. You see people nowadays during now these 2 weeks or all this month, exams of GCSE and A level and all of that. You find your son or your daughter or someone, a family members, strong all the months. During this period, some of them, they get with the stress of the exams, you get them with sickness, cough, and all the stress, and you see them how weak they are. Very, very weak. It's inside, because inside there is worries, there's concern, there's thinking and everything. So you need to be strong inside, and that's why we need the Iman. Why the Muslim is stronger, why the Muslim is good? Because we have the Iman. The Iman strengthens us from inside. We have good in our heart, our Iman. Mentally we're thinking good, but we're having weak Iman. Mentally we are thinking wrong. We are not really in the right frame of thinking. And even if you have a strong body, you are weak. So it's inside. Preparing someone, you need to prepare someone inside. As all the time, don't say that I can't do or I am weak. No, I'll try. Inshallah, I'll be able to do it. And give me chance. All the time, do not close the door. Do not make yourself, you cannot do something. I'm saying that for general in Sharia, when you want to do good deeds, or whatever the good deeds, if related maybe the knowledge or related to the a'mal, that, you know, some of the obedience that you would like to do at home, and you can't do them because all the time you're closing the door. Oh, I can't do it. Fasting Monday and Thursday, oh, I can't do it. You know, I just tried before, I can't do it. Because inside, who's talking there inside? Not the tongue. You're telling yourself from inside, you can't do it, but if tell yourself that, yeah, I can do it. Sitting for an hour making dhikr after Fajr or night time, or making some raka'at at night time, oh, I can't do it. I have this, I have that. You're already telling yourself that I can't do it, but try it. Just try it. So you're weak inside, even if you have a strong body. What is the benefit of that body then? It's nothing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is preparing Musa alayhi salam inside mentally that you are strong, you don't be scared. And the way how he talked to him, that is enough for to be strong, to be taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah said to Musa alayhi salam, the second action, giving the first miracle, which is the stick, and later on he'll tell him about it. And now the second action to show him that you are in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Al-Aziz Al-Hakim. وَأَدْخِلْ يَدَكَ فِي جَيْبِكَ وَأَدْخِلْ يَدَكَ فِي جَيْبِكَ. Enter, allow your hand, and it was said, your right hand, fi jaybik. Al-jayb in Arabic language is the the thawb that you wear from the top. There's a space in here. That is al-jayb, where the head goes through. Sometimes we have buttons in there, but if you have something to wear it, the hole in putting the head in, that's al-jayb. And can be also referring to the right side pockets. The right side part of your dress will be called jayb. Although the famous definition for the word jayb is a pocket, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but that is something that needs to be known, understood by the reader of the Quran. Al-jayb, that's what it means as well, as explained now. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded Musa to put his hand inside his dress for the right side, the right hand, the right side, and then said, تخرج بيضاء. Allah is telling him already. So that's what you expect. تخرج بيضاء, and Musa saw that as well. تخرج, it will come out from that place. بيضاء, بيضاء, white, clear white, is all white. And the whiteness of this is not a whiteness of the sickness. You can get something white, but out of sickness will not look nice, will not look pleasant, and for someone to look at it. But he put his hand inside, got it out, is a clear white, full of light and white. Not the way that when you look at it, you go, it's not something really nice. You look at it and it's fine for Musa alayhi salam. تخرج بيضاء من غير سوء. And that's why I say من غير سوء, without any sickness, without any illness, without any problems. Is a fit and clean and clear hand that you can see, O Musa. That's his right hand. في تسع آيات إلى فرعون. في تسع means I'm supporting you, O Musa, with 9 ayat, miracles, that I will give you, and إلى فرعون, to go and take with you these miracles to إلى فرعون وقومه. Before we move into that, so just to build up the information before we get into Pharaoh, look into how Allah started with that. Is the whole thing is selecting Musa after that journey, giving him life that he experienced there, and to have that experience, preparing him in Madian is very important, as Muhammad got the experience in Mecca while he was a trader for Khadija, and before that he was a shepherd and looks after the sheep, preparing the Nabi. And then after that, giving him the revelation. The way how he talked to him and giving him the revelation was a very special situation for Musa alayhi salam, is Kalimullah, and then supporting him with the ayat and making him to see these ayat in front of him, how they're working, and supporting him and showing him, giving him more introduction about Allah, introduced him more to him, alayhi salam, and then now he's going to give him the message. Similar to that, as we said, and the context of the ayat in showing to you mainly how Allah sent the revelation upon, how the revelation was received by Musa. In the same way, because we're talking about Surah An-Naml is mainly same as Surah Al-Shu'ara and talks about the revelation, and we ended with the ayah وَإِنَّكَ لَتُلَقَّى الْقُرْآنَ مِنْ لَدُنْ حَكِيمٍ عَلِيمٍ. So the way how Muhammad received the Quran, then now I'm going to tell you how the other Anbiya, they received the Quran, the revelation, and what happened to them. The ayat, the evidence, the miracles that I gave them to support that revelation that I gave them, and they go back into their nations to tell them about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah supported Musa mainly at the beginning with 2 ayat. The stick when will be turned into a snake, and his hand when he puts in his pocket and comes out white. The time of Musa was the time of the Egyptian during Musa's time was a time for magicians, full of magic. People, you can say it's an advanced community they used to be at the time, because as you know, the Egyptian, the reality, the history shows that the Egyptian at the time, they were very advanced community, the very advanced people, and they got even into creating the magic. Musa alayhi salam was sent to them with ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To them will look like a magic, but they're not really magic. It's an ayat from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then Allah supported him with this 9 different ayat. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent him with al-tufan, with al-dafadi', with al-qummal, with the... So this ayat will come, Allah mentioned them in a clear manner in Surah Al-A'raf and the other surahs. The story of Musa in this part in Surah Al-Naml is very short, but in the other surahs quite long. The ulama said the ayat of Musa is not just 9. There are more than 9, but the 9 that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala highlighted them. So for example, hits when Musa hit that the stone and the stone got the water out of it, and 12, it was not counted from the 9 ayat, but it's an ayat, and no one can do that except a Nabi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have a principle: if al-adad was mentioned, the number is mentioned in there, it doesn't mean that's the only number there intended. So it can be more, but the number is to show you the importance of these miracles that Allah mentioned them. So all these ayat to support Musa alayhi salam when he goes to ila Fir'auna wa qawmi. Fir'aun is the title of the king of Egypt and his people, and those are the Egyptian. You know that in Egypt there are 2 nations lived in there. The Israelians and those who came, immigrated at the time of Yusuf and Yaqub, and they used to live in the land of Canaan. They moved and lived in there during the time of Yusuf, when Yusuf was a senior person in Egypt. And they lived there, the Bani Israel. So Bani Israel originally are not from Egypt. They moved there, they lived in there until the time of Musa alayhi salam, when Allah commanded him to leave that land, to move away from that land. And who lived in there? The Egyptian. Al-Fara'ina, as we call them, or the Egyptian. And that's وَقَوْمِ إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا فَاسِقِينَ. Surely the people of Fir'aun, they were a qawm, people who are fasiqeen. Al-Fisq in Sharia, when you announce your sin. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we know that we are weak, we commit sins, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you commit a sin, He makes a sitter upon you. Sitter that you'll be covered, no one can see you. And a person goes out and announces the sins, or doing the sin with no shame outside in front of everyone. So either you go out, you announce it, I did this, I did that, like some young youth when they sit together and they're showing that their coolness, or they are brave. I did this, I did that, I did this, I did that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you a sitter by committing these sins and no one knows about that, and you go out and you announce it. Or someone walks with the sin outside and have no shame in front of the community. This is a fisq. This is a fisq. But al-fisq also in Sharia can be used and referring to kufr. So the context will tell you whether the fisq, which is a kufr, or a fisq, which is the sin. And he talking about the people of Fir'aun, Allah is referring to al-fisq, which is kufr, because the people of Fir'aun, they used to worship Fir'aun. They used to commit the kufr. Fir'aun said to his people, أَنَا رَبُّكُمُ الْأَعْلَى. I am your highest Lord. He's the only Lord for them. They used to worship Fir'aun. So because of that, they committed a kufr. إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا قَوْمًا فَاسِقِينَ. They were a people of fisq, of kufr. So go to them and invite them to the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala giving that message to Musa alayhi salam, not just for the people of Bani Israel, to invite them to the Egyptian, to, as the Mufassirin said, as to give some of the favor that the Egyptian made to the Israelis long time ago. They allowed you to live in their homes. They welcomed you in there during the time of Yusuf. You lived amongst them. The first person who is deserve your favor will be the close one that you live with them. The people, now we live in this country, in this society. Amongst us, some people are not believing in Islam. So after establishing the Islam amongst you and your family, the first people who deserve the da'wah, the people that you see them outside. People, they go into a Tablighi Jama'ah, they go outside into the end of the world, but you're leaving the people around you in here, who are very close to you, that deserve your da'wah. Sometimes you don't even talk to your neighbor. And who is the one who deserves your da'wah? Allah did not tell Musa to go and just give da'wah to Bani Israel. Bani Israel are believers generally they are believers in God. They believe in Allah. They commit sins. Yes, but they believe in Allah because they have the Anbiya before that. And he gave him the da'wah to give the da'wah to Bani Israel, to the Egyptian, to Pharaoh and his people. Because you lived amongst them. You were there. You grown up in the palace of Pharaoh. The Egyptian, the Israelis, they lived in Egypt. And although it's not their land, it's the people who deserve your dawah. Similar to that for us, brothers, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he lived amongst the Quraysh. The people deserve his dawah, he's the Qurayshis. And even when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the offer that I will squeeze them, I will kill them, I will end them, no, I want them, I'm giving me more chance. I want to give them dawah. And that is something that we need to think about it as well. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْهُمْ آيَاتُنَا مُبْصِرَةً قَالُوا هَذَا سِحْرٌ مُبِينٌ. When Musa alayhi salam, with his, now the story very summarized in here in terms of the steps of Musa's journey with Bani Israel. As you know, the purpose of having this context in here is to show to Muhammad the way how the revelation was received by Musa alayhi salam at the time when Allah spoke to him and he sent him the revelation. Because comparing that is not just you, Muhammad, look how you received the revelation and look how the other Anbiya are receiving the revelation. So he told him about that, and he فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْهُمْ آيَاتُنَا, when the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the miracles, the evidence to prove that Allah is the one who deserves to be worshipped, no one else, was reached Pharaoh and his people. فَلَمَّا جَاءَتْهُمْ آيَاتُنَا. Ayat are two types. Ayat kawniyya, in the world, you see how the night, the daytime, the snow, the cold, the sun, the moon, the stars, the trees, everything on this world are ayat proving that there is one there who is the creator. And there are ayat which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them with Musa to Pharaoh, which is the stick and the hand and the other ayat that he mentioned them. So لما جاءتهم آياتنا, when this ayat reached Pharaoh and his people, مبصرة, very clearly, very openly, very clear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, قالوا هذا سحر مبين. They said, this is a sihr, this is a magic, because that is what they know. That's the language, they understand it, and that's what they see all the time in their culture at that time. They see people coming with different magic, people are coming with different ways of creating different types of magics, and they thought is Musa alayhi salam, he created the same thing. Similar to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the power at that time is the power of speech. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came with the Quran, they said, no, this is something that you learned somewhere, it's not you, it's this, it's that. And it's every nation. When Isa alayhi salam was sent to them, to Bani Israel, at the time Bani Israel, they had, no one stopped me, like when I saw the time, and I thought, Brother Amin left, so it means that we passed the time. You have to remind me. If you don't tell me, I'm going not to stop, I'm going to continue. Okay, let me stop you. One, the people who knows me, they should stop me. So those who don't know me, I'm going to continue talking until I feel that short of maybe. I'll stop here, inshallah. I'm really sorry for keeping you. I have another class now. The children are waiting. May Allah forgive me and you. Jazakumullah khair. And Allah knows best. Assalamu alaikum.